Hi, year seven. Okay, so we're carrying on from the theme of factors and multiples, and we're moving on to prime numbers. Now, although I know that what you might think is that at the moment we're doing lots of revision work and not moving on to new things, and that's because this week, you might have noticed from the task names, this is week 1 of 2. So next week, we're going to be doing some building on that, but we needed to do the three main things first. So this is our final sort of revision lesson, and then next week we'll do a couple of lessons on some more important things like prime factorization, and also we're going to do factorizing of some equations as well. But anyway, so hopefully you can see nice and clearly our 100 square. And I just wanted for us to try and have a go at trying to find all of the prime numbers. So I want you to just think for a second, what do you know about prime numbers? What properties do they have? Okay, so prime numbers are those that have two factors. They always have two factors, and those are themselves. So as in a factor of 18 is 18, themselves and 1, and they can't have any other factors. They also have to have at least two factors. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, what's the smallest prime number? And the smallest one is, if you just said 1, you fail. The smallest one is 2, and that's because 2 can be made by doing 2 times 1. It can't be made any other way using integers. The other one that now, some of you might have said 1. Well, 1, yes, it only has itself as a factor, but it has to have at least two factors, so I'm afraid it doesn't count. So we've got 2. Now, what I want you to do is help me to cross out the ones that are not prime. So I'm going to be left with the ones that are prime. So the first thing I'm going to do, 2 is the only even number which is prime, because everything else can be divided by 2. So I'm going to red highlight all the ones which are not prime. So we can't have anything which is even. None of these are primes. And there's another column coming. Here we go. None of these are primes either. The other things that we know, well, let's think about our rules of divisibility. So if it's in the 5 times table, it ends in a 5 or a 0. Well, that means that none of these numbers are primes either. And we've already done our zeros. If it is in the 3 times table, so you've got 3 and 6 and 9, well, that means 9 can't be prime. 12, 15, 18, fine, we're all good. 21 can't be, 24 isn't, 27 isn't. 33 isn't. What else have we got? 39 is not a prime number, and you can go through these and keep going. What have we got next? 49 is not prime. We have got. Hopefully, I'm not going to miss any out. Slightly worried that I will. If I do, be nice about it. What have we got? 69 is in the 3 times tables. 77 is in the 11s. 99 is in the 11s. We go 60, 78. So 81 is in the 3 times table. So is 87. And then 93 is in the 3 times table as well. Right, I think that might be us done. So remember our rules of divisibility that you did in the lesson on Monday. So if you add together the digits and they equal a multiple of 3, then it's going to be in the 3 times table. So let's just do a quick cursory check. 3 and 7 is 10, 3 and 1 is 4, 4 and 1 is 5, 7, 11, 6. Aha, so 51, 5 and 1 makes 6, which means that this one is in the 3 times table. 5 and 3 makes 8, well, that's fine. 5 and 9 here makes 14, that's fine. 7, 6 and 7 makes 13, 8, 10, 16, 11, that makes 17, 10, and 16. Okay, so I think we have actually, I believe, done. Hold on, no. One more. 91 is in the 7 times table. And 7, I think now that's us done. All right, so now we're left with these numbers. Now these numbers have only got 2 factors, themselves and 1, and that's really important that you remember. So prime numbers have only got themselves and 1. Here we go, here's our final list. And hopefully I didn't miss any. Did I miss any? No, thank goodness. Pass the test. Right, so those are your prime numbers. You can pause the video if you want to, just to have that for your task. But Those are your primes. Now, remember, it's a number that only has two factors, itself and 1. Do not include 1, please, as a prime number. It is never a prime number. So for the task today, I've given you a little grid. So there's actually fewer questions in this task than there normally would be. There's a little grid on the task that looks a bit different. I want you can save it and print it out. You can save it, stick it onto a version of Paint or Word or whatever you want to do. And you can circle the primes, and you'll see an interesting pattern that comes up from this different number grid. It doesn't look like 100 square. We're going to do that, and if you do the extension, I think everyone should have a go at the extension today. It's not hugely difficult. It just involves you having a grid of prime numbers already ready. Once we've done that, so this is the last sort of teaching in lesson of this week, and then next week we're going to be doing prime factorization, and we're going to be doing some work on, like I say, factoring equations. We've also got our end of year exam coming up next week as well. So if you want to do some revision, you might want to go back and make sure you get full marks on some of your Google Classroom tasks. So for the rest of this week, if you're going to say to me, what do I do next? The answer is go back and finish off your tasks. So here's some questions here very quickly, just to make sure that you are fully competent in what you're doing with prime numbers. So the prime numbers to 50, we've got 2, 3, and 5, 7, 11, 13. You can almost tell that I've done these before. 17 and 19 and 23, 31, 30, ooh, 37, 41, 43, and 47 as well. Right, write down the prime numbers between 20 and 30. You might want to test yourself to do this, and you can check your answers against 100 square that we've just shown. Write down only the prime numbers between 90 and 100. How many prime numbers are there between 50 and 80? What's the first prime number after 100? And what is the only even prime number? So those are questions you can answer yourself by just checking against your 100 square. You do not need to write anything down, and you don't need to send me anything. And we'll build to prime factors next week. Good luck, guys. Let me know if you get stuck.